All right, guys. Good morning, good day. 10 a.m. Pacific time, USA, 7 p.m. Nigeria. Welcome, guys. Welcome. In the chat box, please post where you are watching from, your city, your state, your country. Welcome in to a special edition of the Americat podcast. So today we're going to be talking about my honest thoughts on the land beef involving the FCT minister Nyesom Wike, former governor of River State, and armed naval soldiers in Abuja. So first things first, I am going to be analyzing this matter from both a landowner in Nigeria who has been in my fair share of land disputes. I've been to battle before in Nigeria over land. So I've been in my fair share of these things and I know how they work. I'm also going to be speaking from the perspective of an ex-military soldier who served with honor in the US Army. So optically, guys, this is not normal. It is actually bordering abnormal to see a presidentially appointed minister of the Federal Capital Territory. This is Nyesom Wike, former governor, involved in a brouhaha with armed soldiers. I mean, this was caught on camera. You can't make this up. They were scuffling over land right there in Abuja. So there's a clip. Actually, there's multiple clips from multiple angles floating around YouTube right now on the social media showing the verbal jujitsu that happened between Wike, his crew of government officials on the left side, and then on the right-hand side, you have active duty military soldiers guarding a landed property. That's another thing too. We need to talk about active duty military officers guarding the land. So the good news is nobody was harmed because this could have easily gone left. No land is worth fighting over unless that land belongs to you. In this case, Wike doesn't own that land. And I'm going to get to that in a second. No, nothing is worth you losing your life over, especially a land matter. This thing could have easily have gone through the courts. So for me to see a Nigerian citizen, for me to see a leader of Wike's status on ground, caught on camera over a land dispute wasn't a good look. And I think Minister Wike himself, if you are watching, I think you also know this. I'm not saying that you were wrong. You were right in every capacity based on your responsibilities as the FCT minister. So for those who don't know, I'm not going to assume that everybody who's watching this is Nigerian. So I'm not going to assume. So let's start first of all with the FCT, Abuja. So the FCT, Abuja is not a state. It's just a federal capital territory. It's similar to Washington, D.C. So the state of, I said the state, the territory of Abuja doesn't have a governor. So someone like an appointed minister like Wike is an equivalent of, let's say, the governor of FCT. He's essentially the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, appointed by President Bola Tinubu. He's been in that role now for about 2 years. So he oversees basically civil matters, infrastructure development, local governance within the FCT, all federal lands and federal property within the FCT. Wike is the head honcho. If you are looking for CFO on a land, he's the one that signs off on it. So he's the leader of the FCT. That is his job. His job is also to clean up the territory, to ensure that people are not building unauthorized structures on lands, whether it's private land or whether it's government land. That is Wike's job. He is responsible for the economic development of the Federal Capital Territory. If it goes bad, he is to blame. If it goes well, he is to praise. That is Wike's role. Wike does not have jurisdiction. You see, the Nigerian military is federalized. In the United States, I'm going to give you an example. We have what is called the National Guard. Until the National Guard and these are soldiers, they are reserved soldiers. Unless the National Guard is federalized by President Trump or any president, those National Guard reserved soldiers, they fall under the governor of the state. So the governor can deploy National Guard soldiers. Usually the time that they are deployed is when there's like a natural disaster and they just need the might and the expertise and the resources of the armed forces. Then they'll deploy National Guard, the National Guard. Beyond that, the President of the United States also has the authority as the commander-in-chief to federalize and activate. You see, Donald Trump is doing it right now with border control and all that. This is live. Yes, this is live, CJ. Okay. So the military, Wike doesn't have jurisdiction over Nigerian military officials in Abuja. Even governors. Remember, FCT Abuja is not a state, it's a federal capital territory, unlike, let's say, Akwa Ibom State or Lagos. Even then, those governors don't have any jurisdiction over the military. They don't. Only the president, only President Tinubu does. So in this case, optically, like I said, it wasn't a good look to see a sitting minister embroiled in a fight, a verbal spat with armed soldiers. Like I said, this could have easily, it was within a split second, guys, is all it takes. Somebody may hear a pop somewhere, a tire could have blown somewhere, and those soldiers could have interpreted that as a gunshot and opened fire. It could have gone left like a street dog. It could have gone left easily, guys. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. So, to see them go off in their separate ways was actually good. And Wike did, before I get into, Wike did what he was supposed, he did the right thing. Within a 24-hour period, that's 24 hours after the incident. And mind you, before then, the Nigerian media had picked up that clip that they saw and they ran away with it. Oh, conduct unbecoming an FCT minister. This is embarrassing for Wike. It's like they vilified the minister, without even knowing the full story. They jumped to conclusion. It's as if every media network that I at least saw was against Wike. No one really talked about because it takes two to tango. No one really talked about the conduct of the so-called commissioned officer that was in charge, that was guarding. And another thing, what is the commissioned, active duty commissioned officer doing guarding land? This shows me that there's a huge loophole in the Nigerian military structure. Huge loophole. And I'm going to get to that. So they went their separate ways. You saw the argument, you saw the scuffle. And then 24 hours later, Wike actually did what he was supposed to do. He did the right thing. He held a national press conference in Abuja. He held a 47-minute press conference to detail what actually went down. I thought that was very classy of Wike to do. You see, when people in the diaspora or even Nigerians see this sort of like scuffle between leaders of our countries, it does impact investor confidence. It really does. I will be the first to tell you, as an investor in Nigeria, as a landowner in Nigeria, you can't right now, today, get me to do anything in Abuja, land related, real estate related. It's a very sensitive territory to do business, especially in choice locations like this particular one. This area that they're fighting over is a choice location in Abuja. Now, if you were to ask me, instead of investing in Abuja, buying land in Abuja, I'll tell you, look at other states like Nasarawa State. That is where people are going today, because Abuja is very small. In 2003, I actually bought land in Abuja in 2003 and sold it 5 years later just to get out of that place. Abuja is a very sensitive place to buy land right now. The retired senior military members are assigned the military personnel to be there. That is another problem we will talk about. And this is what I'm talking about, the loophole in our military structure. Let me tell you something. Once you have served as a soldier and you have retired, you are now a regular citizen, just like the person next door selling akara. So to see a retired naval, was it the chief of naval staff or something? I don't even know. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he's retired. He was appointed active duty. You see, when people retire like that, if you care so much about your security, you've made enough money, you can go and hire private security, is what they do. You can go and hire private security. But when a retired personnel is given a detail of active duty soldiers, that is a problem. It is a problem. And also, the retired naval officer is not really the one to blame. There is a current active duty naval officer right now that approved that detail. That person should be retired or sacked immediately. Because you could have gotten Wike killed. You could have gotten a lot of government officials killed in that brouhaha that happened. You see, commissioned officers just can't detail themselves to people. They were ordered by a senior officer to serve as detail to a retired officer. So those guys, those soldiers that you saw there fighting with Wike were just following orders. That is usually how it works. They were following orders from a high-ranking, active duty military official. They are not following the orders of the retired one, because the retired person doesn't have the capacity or the capability or even the power to be ordering active duty soldiers around. So in the midst of all this, there's a high-ranking military official right now that should be responsible for what happened and should be held accountable for what happened. So the main issue was that Wike was verbally abusing the guy. He chose to fight with the wrong person, ask for the boss. So not entirely accurate. Okay, because we only saw what happened on the surface level. Now, let me tell you, now let's go inside. Based on what Wike said in the 47-minute press conference. So, according to Wike, this is coming from Wike's mouth, and I'm paraphrasing here, not verbatim. This particular land that's in contention is actually government land, according to Wike, that was sold, according to Wike, to this unsuspecting naval officer, retired naval officer. So what Wike is essentially saying is that they are trying to build, number one, on government land without approval. So Wike actually sends his team. This is usually how it works, guys. Bear with me for a second here. You see, a man of Wike's status, the FCT minister, he just can't roll out of bed to go and fight land fight. We know that this has been brewing for quite some time, because Wike sent his team, first and foremost, to go and look into that land matter. I'm telling you, we are not seeing the full story here, because I'm sure this land has been in contention. There has been some sort of background information or some sort of background rift between the landowner and the FCT minister. So when Wike sent his team to go and investigate this unauthorized development, construction, let me tell you how it usually works. When you are a senior ranking government official, and I've walked around a lot of them, when you walk into a situation like this, you are badged, you carry your ID, more than likely you are arriving in a government issued vehicle that's marked. You are not just arriving. Thank you, baby. That's my breakfast. Kate just brought me breakfast. I'm gonna eat that later. But I'm thirsty, so let me drink some water. Somebody actually reached out to me the other day talking about doing a brand deal. They wanted to send me their beverage because they see me drinking water and milk on the program. They wanted to send me their beverage. So I said, that's fine, but I would rather. I'm not going to showcase your brand for free now. Let's do a brand deal. So we are currently talking right now. But yeah, in the meantime, going forward, I'm not going to be drinking branded drinks anymore. Now, everything that I see is going to be everything that you see me drink is going to be unbranded. Maybe one day I'll launch a Barricade beverage. You just never know. So they showed up. Trust me, because I've been in many details when I was in the military. You show up with your ID, and I can guarantee you, they went there. The first thing that they will ask for is the person in charge of the construction. It's very rare for you to see the developer himself on site. More than likely, you see a foreman or you see a contractor, a general contractor. Okay. So they went there And they more than likely introduce themselves. Hi, my name is ABC. We are from the Office of the Federal Capital Territory, Minister Wike. We are from Minister Wike's office. We were sent here to look at this construction, speak to see what's going on. And according to Wike, not only were these senior ranking government, give us some food. This one are straight bagel and eggs. I don't want to eat and talk about food. But Kate is, man, she can cook. She gets down. She gets down like that. She can cook. I gotta give her that. So these guys went, introduced themselves as officials from the minister's office, and I want to talk to the person that's in charge. That is fair. That is what you're supposed to do. So what went wrong was that not only were this, if it's one thing if the person in charge would have said, you know what, this is not the time, come back, or let's call our boss will get with your boss, or our boss will get with your office to resolve. Because I've been in that situation where I'm building and then some touts came. I know these guys are not touts. These guys are government official badged. So what Wike said happened was, not only did they send those senior ranking government officials away, according to Wike, they are director level officials. He said that those officials were beaten by the soldiers. Whether that is true or false is to be determined because there's no footage. There are no witnesses that came out and said this happened. So we are just taking Wike's words at face value that the people were beaten. That's what Wike said. Were they shoved? Somebody might misinterpret shoving or blocking as being beaten. So we don't know what these guys went back and told Wike, because there's no. Now, my request to Wike is this: show us the proof, show us the footage, show us the scars that these guys were actually beaten. We are yet to see that. We are just going on what Wike said based on, just got to take his word. I'm not saying that he's right. We're just taking his word at face value. So Wike said that the guys were beaten by the soldiers and sent back. That was what instigated and what made Wike wake up the next day, take his team. That was what transpired, according to Wike, based on that press conference. So he said that these guys were operating outside of the law. They were building structures that are unauthorized. And he couldn't, as the FCT minister, as the boss of Abuja, sit there while his team, his government officials, are being beaten or were beaten by this, what do you call it? By these soldiers. That was what happened, according to Wike. Again, remember, we are just hearing one side of the story. We are still yet to hear from the naval officer side. Either way, it doesn't matter. Both sides, as of right now, it doesn't matter how you slice it or how you dice it. Both sides are wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying, just from the looks of things, with the fight on camera, everybody is wrong, to be honest with you, in this case. The media was wrong for jumping into conclusion. And another thing too, like I was saying, from a military standpoint, It is highly unusual for a civilian to have active duty military detail. Something is wrong. The system is broken. For them to go and put, not just, I can understand if you are putting somebody there with their uniform alone, but they were armed with AK-47 rifles. They were armed. What is this? Only the president has the right to do that. And moreover, they are armed guarding property belonging to a civilian. It wasn't as if they are armed guarding property belonging to the federal government. The person who approved that detail, to be honest with you, needs to go. That person needs to go. We can't, and maybe that is why the media is not really blaming the soldiers, because the soldiers are just following orders. And I can probably tell you, I didn't see the guy's rank, but more than likely, that guy that was going back and forth with Wike was probably a second lieutenant. Probably. Because a first lieutenant, a captain, is not going to do that crap. Usually, someone like that, that's in that kind of a position, is like, it's a commissioned officer, a second lieutenant. That's where they start. A second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, and I think a colonel, lieutenant colonel, brigadier general, major general. Major. Major is after captain. So that non-commissioned officer that was sitting there did nothing wrong. He was simply following orders. Okay, is it conduct on becoming an officer? Yes, it's conduct on becoming an officer. I was in the military. Soldiers just don't behave that way. And those guys that you are seeing with the weapons, those guys are not officers. They are soldiers. Maybe a corporal, maybe a private, maybe even a sergeant. They are the very, very bottom. Who is giving them that order is that second lieutenant that's arguing with Wike. He knew who Wike was now. If you are based in Abuja and you are wearing the uniform of the Nigerian military and you don't know who Minister Wike is, you should probably not be in that position. The guy knew who Wike was. He could have easily, if you, again, experience now. A second lieutenant is not experienced. Maybe the guy just got out of NDA, Nigerian Defense Academy, freshly commissioned. I can guarantee you he has not been in that role for more than a year. So we can give him the benefit of inexperience. But he could have easily just... Another thing too is, I did not see anybody in that crew, Wike's crew, the soldiers' crew, trying to de-escalate the matter. I didn't see it. So if Wike was hot, which we saw, you know Wike is a tank. If you guys follow, you know. That's just, he's a very temperamental guy. So if Wike was hot, knowing good and damn well, because those people have come back to him and said we were beaten by soldiers, armed soldiers, you know he had that information. And he still went, putting himself in danger, putting himself in harm's way. Over what? Land that does not belong to you. To be quite honest with you guys, ministers can lose their job over this. Even Wike said, if this costs me my job, it costs me my job. Tinubu can easily come out now and say, oh boy, you gotta go. You really make I'm sorry. But Tinubu is not going to do that. You know why? Because he has an election coming up. And he needs Rivers State. I can honestly see Wike being removed if Tinubu were to win the second term. He needs Wike's constituents. I think Wike can agree that not only did he put himself, guys, look, leadership, there's a difference. Some people are just managers. Some people are, let me tell you something about leadership. You always got to think about your people. It doesn't matter how hot he could have thought about it, because all those guys that he took there were following him. Those guys, had something gone wrong, could have been injured, could have worse, could have been killed. You see, Wike wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about himself. For what? The land is not your own. Yes, you are the Federal Capital Territory minister. But the land does not belong to your father. It doesn't belong to you. So what he could have done as a leader, listen, it's not every time that you have to be boo, boo, boo. There are times during my leadership in corporate America that I had to just bite my tongue and just take a strategic path. So nobody was trying to de-escalate. There was even one there that was, he was the one that even started it. It wasn't even Wike that started the tussle. It was Wike's boy. Going back and forth, going back and forth. You are going back and forth with somebody that's armed. That gun alone, that AK-47 alone is enough to say, okay, maybe we should take a diplomatic approach to this. Let things lie, let the dust settle. So on that, I listen. Wike handled this wrong. He's the Federal Capital Territory. He has all of the resources to have taken this. He could have easily gone the legal way and sued. That's all he has to do. Sue the landowner. Let this thing play out through the court system. And maybe the judge might issue a temporary injunction, a temporary stop work injunction. Let's figure out who actually owns the land, because Wike is saying that it's the federal government of Nigeria that owns that land. And this so-called retired naval officer, who, to be honest with you, you cannot blame the guy, because the guy is not in any position or any power to activate active duty soldier. If he wants to protect his land so bad, he could have gone the private route. Just go and hire your own private security now. Hire them. Let them sit there and protect your land. Not active duty military officials. Military should not have any role in civil matters, especially civil land matters. Listen, there's better things for the military to be focused on. Insecurity is number one. Actually, insecurity is paramount. Those soldiers there that were protecting that land, guarding that land, could they not have been deployed to go and do something else? Address insecurity. They were also in danger. Now, I did not see any. I don't think Wike showed up with armed escort. I think he should, because he is the FCT. He gets an armed detail, even though I did not see. I only saw the media. I should go back and watch the clip again. I did not see any armed personnel with Wike, but as the federal minister, you bet your bottom dollar that he has armed guards with him. Because it's their protectee. They got to protect him. So thankfully, guys, that is my analysis. It's very, very weird and very, very odd for a federalized military to be involved in civil land matters. This wasn't a federal government land. The owner, the person that's on record with that CFO is a retired, yes, he probably bought the land when he was in the military. And now Wike is saying that the land belongs to the federal government. He attested to the fact that listen, everybody is having land problems in Abuja. Even Obasanjo has land problem in Abuja because Wike said it. Heads of states, Buhari himself, before he died, had land issue in Abuja. Abuja is not a place that I will recommend or advise anybody right now with resources to invest in, especially real estate. It's a very delicate territory right now. It has always been that way. That's why I exited. I bought my land in 2003. I believe I sold it 5 years later. Because of all the stories that I was hearing buildings being demolished. I was hearing government officials coming in and just taking people's lands. And I'm like, okay, I better check out. I don't even think I made money. I think I barely even broke even on that land. But I was okay to walk away. I broke even. I didn't gain. And I did not lose. Because as soon as I saw a buyer, I immediately flipped that land and moved on. Since then, last month, somebody reached out to me talking about investing in land in Abuja. I just deleted it. I am not interested in Abuja right now. I don't think I will ever be interested in Abuja real estate investment. It is just too problematic. When you have presidents calling Wike to help him, Wike said it. He said Obasanjo called him to help him resolve a land dispute. Wike said it. In Abuja there. A former head of state, former general. Now you, common investor, you don't stand a chance. If generals are having issues, if sitting government officials are having issues, if Buhari is having issues, if naval officers are having land issues in Abuja, is it you, a commoner, a diasporan investor that stands a chance? Take your money elsewhere. Abuja is worse. Abuja is like the number one, like don't even go. Don't even think about it. Lagos is number 2. Lagos is number 2 with land problems. So we should not be seeing clashes and incidents like this. So in a way, part of me is actually glad that it happened, but I'm glad that it happened because nobody got hurt, because it really showed what is really happening. It really exposed land investment matters in Abuja. If anything, if you want to buy property in Abuja, buy something that's in an estate that's already built. But when it comes to raw land, don't do it. If you like Abuja that much, pick up a piece of property, a flat already built in an estate. Obviously, do your due diligence, but stay away from raw land in Abuja. So that is my analysis from both as an investor and both as a former military soldier. It is abnormal. It is weird. We shouldn't be seeing that. And Minister Wike, this one is for you. Listen, it's not every fight that you are invited to that you have to attend. I can understand if this is a political matter. You are lobbying, you are on the campaign trail for President Tinubu's second term. Yes, I enjoy seeing you talk about your position. I enjoy seeing you. I enjoy watching you talking about Tinubu's policies, which is pro-diaspora. It actually benefits me. I enjoy watching you going back and forth with other politicians. But sir, I don't enjoy seeing you in this capacity. Nobody enjoys seeing you in this capacity. Fighting over land. Going up there, raising your voice, all this theater. With a active duty, armed military soldiers who are probably ready to defend that turf by every means necessary, because guys, they are just following orders. I was one of those. That is what they train you to do, is to follow orders of your superior officers. If that superior officer says, shoot that guy, you shoot him. You don't. And then you ask questions later. Nelly, what are you doing? If you want to come say hello, come say hello. My daughters are like under my desk. Yeah, they just ran away. So what do you guys think? Let's talk about this. What questions do you have about this Wike matter and about this land disputes? Do you have any questions about investing in Abuja? Like, go ahead and post your thoughts and your comments in the chat box. Go away, Nelly. I'm talking. Nelly's back. Okay, so Wike should have arrived with a court order to cease construction. Wike should not have even arrived by himself. He's bigger than this. A sitting minister should not be there rubbing shoulders with land matter. You follow the process, right? You can serve them. That's what process servers are for. If Wike truly believe that this land belongs to the federal government, all you got to do is take it and just serve that second lieutenant. Because there's a body there on site. There's a person there online. You walk in, the process server walks in. The process server doesn't even have to say anything other than you are served. That is all they have to do, and they walk away. I've served somebody before. Listen, I've been in my own fair share of land war in Abuja. And I followed the process. I served them. They got a lawyer. I got a lawyer. And then it became this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, we'll see who owns this land. I went and I built on top of the land. The person when Papa get the land, make them come. I went and built on top. They ran away. Because I was willing to show, and I had the proof that this is my property. This belongs to me. And what my lawyer told me was, listen, you have all of the documentation, you have all of, immediately, as soon as you can, just dig a foundation, build something on top. I did. That's what I did. And that was the end of it. I did not hear from the opposition anymore. They disappeared. Because they were trying to sell my property. And I'm like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm developing this. As the owner, I was within my right, because I was willing to go to any lengths to prove that was my. So I've been in my own fair share, but I did the right thing. I didn't introduce armed guards. Guys, you got to be careful too. You guys watching this from abroad. One of the first advice that people will always give you is get police involved, get soldiers involved. Don't do it, especially armed. You see, no land is worth me shooting somebody over or getting shot over. But you got to follow due process. You got to follow the law like I did. You have all of your documentation in place. You hire a process server. They serve them. And if that soldier was responsible, he would take that, because remember, it's not his land. He's just the guard. He would then take that documentation and give it to his boss, the retired naval officer, and say, sir, we were served today. And then that is when the legal process begins. So in a nutshell, to wrap this up, guys, thank you for your time. Everybody was wrong in this regard. And we need to start holding our... Listen, this example that Wike wasn't a good look for Wike. And I like him a lot. It just was not a good look overall. Okay, so the good news is, thankfully, nobody was injured. And please, we don't want to see this brouhaha again. We don't want to see it again. It doesn't look good for the minister. It does not look good for the Nigerian military. It does not. Military officials should not be involved. They should only be focused on military matters, protecting the homeland. Somebody's land, private land, residential land, civilian land is not military problem. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share, guys. Listen, if you enjoy this, like and share this. Look through our other YouTube videos on our channel. And if it's something that relates to you, consider subscribing to our channel, Rich and Berkat YouTube channel. I invest in export, securities, and real estate, both in the United States and Nigeria. And I'll occasionally talk about issues like this, which I'm kind of starting to get interested in, like military issues, because I can provide some sort of perspective having been in the military. But this wasn't something that was good optically for both sides. So both sides, if you're watching this, lesson learned. Let us respect the judicial system. Take matters, same to you too, civilians. Those in the diaspora, if you are embroiled in land disputes, like there's a saying that if you have something that is worth having, there's always going to be somebody or people trying to take it away from you. But it's your right to defend it. So this land was worth having, and the government is trying to take it. Or the retired naval officer is trying to wrestle the land from the government. One way or another, it's a valuable piece of land. Otherwise, there won't be this fight. But let's just follow the normal process. Guys, I'm telling you, you have not begun investing in real estate in Nigeria until you've been in a land war. You just have not. It's just the way it is. I've been in 2. And I'm probably going to be in more going for as I continue to build my investment portfolio in Nigeria in real estate. There's going to be more fights in the future. But to protect myself, I always ensure that I always do careful due diligence. Beware of shiny land opportunities. Take your time. If somebody offers to sell property to you, and the price they are asking is too good to be true. You see, the new scam now is, oh, we need the money because we are trying to jackpot. We're trying to relocate. So a land that is probably worth 10 million naira, somebody will try and come and sell it to you for 500,000 on the pretense of they're trying to get out of the country. And then you just jump into it and go and buy something that 5 other people already own. That is the new scam now. So take your time. Do your due diligence. Invest in a surveyor. Let me tell you something. A surveyor is probably more powerful than a lawyer in Nigeria, because the surveyors are the ones that knows, they deal directly with the land agency in Nigeria. I forget what they are called. So every single piece of vacant property is actually registered. These guys, these surveyors can actually go in because they have relationships, then they could do a background check on a property. They are actually more valuable. If anything else, hire a land surveyor first before you hire an attorney. Because it's the attorney, it's the land surveyor that's going to educate the attorney on the history of that land. And then together as a team, if you are still interested, if you agree collectively as a team that this land is legit, then you can proceed with the purchase. But invest first in a surveyor in that jurisdiction that you are purchasing your property. Because they're the ones that are going to go into the land office, check on the land. If there's anything in contention, they will know. And then they will advise you. And then from there, you take that information, you get with a lawyer and you go. Don't start with a lawyer if you are buying property. Start with the surveyor first. Because they have more resources at their disposal. A lawyer is just the one that comes and wraps it up, legally wraps everything up and tie it up in a bowl for you to then sign and make your purchase. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to wrap this one up. I really appreciate you guys. Tune in on Monday. There's going to be another podcast episode on Monday. Until then, enjoy your weekend and all the best. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay? CJ, next time, all right?